So welcome everyone. This is the second part of our combined PRED and ECPDS training. So this will be this second one. This is the ECPDS one. So ECPDS is ECMWF production data store. Let me go to the next slide. So first, I would like to try a general look. So and I will also do some definitions here. So we can start with the destination. What is a destination, right? So destination is we can think of it as a group of your configurations and your hosts and your file transfers, and this is deeply connected to the PRED, the destination, and simply you define your product requirements there. And our PGen, I will come in a minute. Our PGen is producing those data, looking at your data requirements, and we are making sure that the data is sent to you via ECPDS. And I'm going to talk about it today. And we also have some hosts inside these ECPDS destinations. These are simply your kind of mailbox, right? So we have different technologies for a host, and I will also come that in a second. So here, if we look at the graphic here, our weather forecasting is happening in FTP, which is field database, and our product generation tool, what we call PGen, is getting your product requirements. So these are simple text files. PGen is reading that and producing the data, and we are sending it to you. You can wonder, you can ask, where is the Mars archive here? So Mars archive is outside of this box, kinda. I mean, weather forecasting is happening in FTP, and we are archiving in the Mars. So like it's not like FTP to PGen to Mars or vice versa, but it's these are different systems. So who do have access to ECPDS as a user? Of course, our member and cooperating states, they have unlimited usage there. Our silver or gold service package license holders can have users to control their destination. And also, of course, satellite data providers like ESA and EUMETSAT also, they also have access. And one thing maybe I can mention here is that all users, all real-time data receivers, they have the destination, but only certain people that I mentioned here have the access to use it or configure their destinations or actually control those. Okay, next slide. So I'm listing here the available hosts that you can have. So we can start with FTP and SFTP. We have native S3 AWS. We have Google Cloud Storage using S3 API, and any other storage using S3 API, we also allow that. We have native Google Cloud Storage. This is new, simply. And we have also Microsoft Azure. We support these technologies simply. We also have HTTPS access for manual downloads from the destination website, which I'm gonna come in a second. Or you can also go to the HTTPS website and download if you're a FTP pool user. But the one caveat here is that we don't suggest that you use HTTP access for operations. And one other thing here is that there is also the protocol called RMDCN. This is simply a meteorological data protocol for transfers, and this is only for member and cooperating states. Let me go to the next one. So what functionalities you have as a privileged user? So you can resend or download files to your local computer, or resend files to your host simply. You can monitor the file transmission You can see the status, and you can also see the progress. You can modify the priority of generated files, so you can actually modify which data you will receive if the schedule is the same for at least for 2 files, for example. You can you can view the host configuration. You cannot configure a host from scratch, but you can actually change the priority of the hosts, and you can actually activate or deactivate a host, which is pretty useful. You can actually see your network throughput. So for example, you can see if the data transfers are faster to you today than yesterday, or you can see in a nice table, which I'm going to show in the live demo part. And finally, you can access or see your organization's contact list, which is really important because this is where we contact you in case of emergencies, simply. Okay, so next slide. Once you get the access to ECPDS, you will be greeted with this page on the right-hand side. Here, username, of course, is your username, but for the password box here, you will put your TOTP, time-based one-time password, and you of course need to configure it first. And it should also be the first TOTP device. If you have more than one TOTP device there, it should be the first in the list. And this is here is the link to go to this web page. Silver and gold package organizations. So silver package users, they can have 2 users, 2 ECPDS users, and the gold organizations, they can have 4. And of course, member and cooperating states, they don't have any limitations on how many users they can have. And this is how you can log in. Let me go to the next one. When you log in, you will see the page on the left-hand side here I'm showing. So this is simply, there is some text defining some terms here. If you click on transmission, you will see some more text and some more definitions, what a host is and everything. And when you click destinations here, you will see how all the destinations you have. I actually forgot, you can have more than one destination, or you can have only one. It's no difference. You can simply click your destination, and you will see the destination web UI, let's say it that way. So for example, here we have a dummy destination called Null and Void Limited. And let me talk you through a bit here, but on the live demo, I will actually go a bit deeper than this. So first, you are seeing some destination configuration or destination management buttons, call it that way, some status, some information, some quick information actually, some filtering options here, buttons, including a search bar, and your file transfers with lots of columns, status and everything. And you also you can see some actions here. And finally, the hosts you have. You can have more than one. You should at least have one, of course. And you can have more than one here. And you can also see the priority, and you can see some more actions here on the right bottom side. Okay, forward. So what you can do now with the web UI of your dissemination, you can actually requeue files by going into this under actions column. You go to this yellow arrow, kinda, click on it, and it will simply requeue, and then it will be sent to your host, simply configured host. It can be in a standby mode or a done. I mean, for example, if you have received it, you would like to receive it for the second time for some reason, you can just do it. Or if it's in standby mode, you can do it. So actually here I can talk about file status, what different file status we have. First one is done, pretty self-explanatory. If it's if it's successfully transferred, at least from our side, we show it done. If it's in transferring, it's simply transferring. It's right. I mean, if it's a really small, I mean, relatively small file size, like a few kilobytes, probably you won't see this too much. And we have some standby mode files. So this is simply, my colleague Ilaria mentioned on Tuesday that if you have a feed that is under delay mode, it will be here in standby mode. Okay, so of course it won't be sent to you automatically if it's in delay mode here in PRED, but it will be in standby mode, which is ready and ready to be sent simply. So, and you can actually requeue them like one by one here. You can also download them to your local computer, which I'm going to come in a second actually. And if it's planned or queued, it will, I'm not showing you here, but actually its file is ready and actually will be sent. It's waiting to be sent to your site. And if it's requeued, it will be, we simply requeued it, for example. Okay, so next one. I actually talked about it a minute ago. So it was the first button here. When you click it, it will simply download that individual file to your local machine, not to your host, but to your local machine. This is, of course, we don't support this operationally, but this is really useful if you have if you like to test one file or couple files. This is also okay to just download to your computer and to make sure that everything's intact, for example. The next one is that you can get more information about the transfer and of course the file. So when you actually click on the file, it will open a page like this on the bottom, on the second image. So you can see many things here. The sizes, the times, messages, like when it queued, for example, or when it started transferring. And you can also see any similar files in the bottom of the page. I'm gonna come to here in the live demo for a deeper look. Let's go forward. So I mentioned that you can download or requeue individual files, but you can also do this in batch operations simply. So once you click on this yellow star, it will simply select, and you can do click, click, click. It will simply select all the ones that you clicked, and then you will click any of this red arrow pointing rightwards. You will simply click it, and it will go to a new page in the third one here, for example. And now you can do batch operations like global actions, we call it, and you can actually requeue 3 of them. Or if you selected 100 files, you can also do that. You can stop them. You can change the priority. You can actually put your number in the box and change the priority simply. You can actually extend the retention time. I'm gonna do this in live demo, and I will explain you what that means. You can clean the selection, and you can continue your selection while going. I mean, if you click on this, you will go to the page before, and you can select files from a different day, for example. Okay, next one. So in the filtering, you can actually click on the feeds, for example. Here are the feeds. For example, here we have only A1 feed. You can click on it. You can click on base time. So we actually already filtered some files. We can actually also select a date, and it will further filter simply the list. And then the search bar here, we support wildcards. So if you do A1S wildcard, it will simply list all the A1S, and also if it's also under these filterings, let's say that way, you will see all the A1S files, for example, on 7 March here. And we have more options in the search bar, of course. If you can, of course, search for time steps. For example, I'm searching here 240, 360 time steps. And ASAP is simply if it's pre-scheduled or not in the PRED, Product Requirements Editor. If the size is more than 7 kilobytes, equals or more than, and if the target is, which is file name, if the file name is with this wildcard here. So you can do more with the search bar. Okay, next. You can also manage the dissemination and manage your hosts. So we have 4 buttons here. So these 2 are restarting the dissemination and these 2 are stopping. I will talk what graceful and what immediate is in the live demo. On the host side, on the host list, you can see if they are available. If they are not grayed out, just like this, they are available. I mean, they will be used. They are operational. You can also increase and decrease a priority host. And I will also talk about this in the live demo part. Let's go to the next slide. This is really important. This is the metadata of your destination. So once we create a destination, we always add a metadata, and it simply contains your contact list, for example, or technical contact. And in any other issues with some situations, with some operational issues, let's say, come to this and contact you via this form or whatever the email you put here. And actually, you should be this metadata page should be up to date simply. And if it's not, and you notice that, please send a message to us through our support portal. Next one. Here, one good functionality of ECPDS is that we have transfer timeline. We have a page called transfer timeline, and this is simply a visual table. I call it that way. And we are seeing different files and their durations, and also the time steps, and also the groups of files, for example. And you can see, so this is something like a general look with the dates here, and you can see which file received, which file took how long of our duration, etc., etc. And if you click on one of the files, so these green lines are simply files, and if you click on them, you will go to the transfer ID page. Simply, you will see more information about that transfer itself. Next one. And so these are more or less that things that you can do with ECPDS. And of course, we have more features of ECPDS. It supports data compression, so you can actually have your files compressed before sending. We have some proxies for US hosts, or for example, or any North American hosts, let's say that way. We have extended and working really good retry mechanisms. So we are trying to make sure that you receive the data, even if you have the problems, even if you have the issues with your host, for example. Data retention days is important. We simply, by default, we are keeping your data, even if it's sent to you. We are keeping them for 3 days. So if you had some issues with your data, we can simply send it to you in 3 days. We can change this, and actually you can also change this. I will come to this in the live demo part. We have a functionality called alias destinations. So if you don't want us to produce the same data twice, but you would like to have the data to your two hosts simultaneously, you can simply or we can simply create this for you, and you will receive the data. We have good data integrity mechanisms. So we are making sure the data is intact when you received it. We have for different hosts, we have some different approaches, but more or less, this is the data integrity mechanism. And we also have host failover mechanism, for example. So if your one host is, for some reason, it's failed, we will go for the next one and we will try that. The only thing that is necessary is that both should be active, and it should be in the, like, priority should be set correctly. And there are many other features I cannot talk about here due to time constraints, but let's go for the next one. I think this is the end of the presentation. Now I will go for the live demo. And yes, this is it for the presentation. I will stop sharing my screen, and in a minute I will start sharing again. And Emma, Ilaria, I don't know if we do a question stop or I will go directly to a live demo.
Live demo is okay.
All right. Give me a minute then. In a minute. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see it. So let me make it a bit bigger, maybe. 125. Okay. So this is our website. You will simply put your username here. This is my dummy user. And now it's not password, but it's TOTP that we have to put here. So I need to wait for a second. Okay. Okay. So now we are in, we simply put our username and TOTP. And like I said, you can see some text here, some information. I go to destinations or transmission. If you click on requirements, you will simply go to product requirements editor. So let's click on destinations. And here I can see my two destinations simply. And if I go NVO, for example, actually here right away we can see the status of the destinations. They both are saying that they are active, and simply they are waiting for files to arrive, and it will be sent to you afterwards. So here is how a destination looks. Here I have the name of the organization, my service package, and some buttons. So this is restarting the destination gracefully. So if I click it, if there is any transfer going on, it will first wait for that transfer to finish, and then it will restart. So this is what graceful means in ECPDS terms. So in restart destination immediate, we simply, if there is any transfer, we can simply just restart the dissemination without checking out any ongoing transfer. I mean, it will just interrupt the transfer in the middle and it will start again. So you can be still sure that it will reach to you, but the transfer will be cut in the half. But you will still get the intact file, of course. You can actually stop the destination again gracefully. So if there's any transfer, it will wait. You can stop the destination right away. Actually, we can do a immediate restart destination here. So you can see how fast it is. It's asking me restart it. So if it asks me, it shows me a warning. And it's just like this. It's like 1 second. 1 second. It's pretty fast, and you can sometimes do this, especially maybe after configuring your host or switching the priority of the host. You can come to here and you can restart your destination. Here in this box, we simply put, you can simply put some numbers, and for like, so for example, if you put 10 here, in every 10 seconds, it will refresh the screen so that you see your transfers better, simply, or up to date. So we have this status bar. Status is waiting here. We can see our last successful transfer, which is it was today in the morning, 7:34 UTC. And you can also see if there is any error, you will see a button here, and it shows me on 5th of March there was a error. And if I click this, I go to the file, just like I click here in the target. If the monitoring is set or not, if the filtering is set or not. So filter is mainly is our compression. So if, for example, if your host or destination is configured as a as receiving data as compressed, you will see some libzip2 here, for example. The parallel is how many connections you can have at the same time. So if I have 10 transfers, 10 files sending me at the same time, so I will get them at the same time. Simply, if it's one, you will only receive one file at a time. Here is the filtering block, let's say it that way. So we can see the streams or feeds, or so these are pred dissemination feeds. So for example, here I have 3, A1, E1, and F1. Here I can see if I actually, so we are only showing, for example, here the 13th. If I go to all, it will show me all the files I have. And let me continue with the data. So here we have, you can see the base times and also the group of files, for example, OPA and SCDA, for example, different streams simply. Base times, we have 4, of course, and you can actually click on them and further filter. Actually, when you hover over the mouse, you can also see the size for that. So if I click 12 here, it will simply, it was like 4.49 gigabytes simply. On status, we have different status I mentioned. One small thing here, its status is planned here. It's actually queued. So it's like this. And of course, the dates we have. Let me do this, okay. And of course, the dates we have here. And also you can do things like this, A1S wildcard, and it will simply list all the files in the list. Okay. So now, before going into some file or batch operations, let me go to the hosting, how the hosts are working. So here, for example, we have 2 hosts configured. You can have, so these are written in our documentation. You can check it. So how many hosts you can have simply. So here we have 2 configured. The first one is grayed out, if you notice, and it's simply, it means that it's deactivated. So any transfer right now will be done by my second host, simply NVO Internet Host 2. So it will be sent to this, even the priorities are the same. And since this are not activated, it will be done by this one simply. So now let's actually activate this host. I did. Now I go to bottom of the page again. You can see this is activated. So now any file transfers happening, it will be done by host 1 because it's activated. Even the priorities are the same. The list is list rules. Simply, if it's the first line, it will be sent to this. But I can do decrease the host priority right now, I will go to the bottom of the page again. Simply now we have the higher priority, you get what I mean, and this is where it will be sent. And the host one is, it will be act as a failover here. It's still active, and if something is happening with host 2 that we don't want, it's down or there is something wrong with the host 2, it will fail over the host 1 and we still will get the files. Therefore, failover mechanism is pretty important. And if you just want to deactivate the host, you can come to here, you can click on deactivate host, and it will simply deactivate the host. And you will continue getting the data from host 1. I hope this is explanatory. So now let me go to the top of the page, and we can do some operations. So in the first, on the actions, or before that, maybe I can actually click on the target, and we can see what information we can have. So it's not transferred yet. So it's sorry. Okay, maybe go for like this one, for example, one of the transferred ones. If I go to file, I can see lots of informations and lots of messages also here. So let me mention a few things here. We can see the size and the received size, the duration, simply how long it took for a transfer, the rate, how fast it was, how was the throughput, the times, all the times like scheduled time, the actual start time of the file transfer, if there were any retries or not, when it did finish. It was, for example, here in this case, it was only, it took only 1 second because the file size was pretty small. And when it will expire. So like I said, by default, it's 3 days. You can actually extend this, and I'm gonna show it. Status, we see the priority. We see if we are on proxy or not, and we see if the file is in ASAP transfer or not, which is normal. So for example, this file or this feed was in normal feed, and press schedule is ASAP simply. If it's ASAP, yes. If it's press schedule simply. We are seeing some. I go to a bit down here. So here we see some messages. For example, when it's done, when it's transferring, and especially if there are any potential issues with our transfer, we are also seeing here some error messages. So it might be useful actually coming here and checking your transfers. And for example, I see where it did land, simply the file, and things like that. In the last, sorry, in this last table here, we are seeing our file. This is our file, which I cannot click because we are in it, and other files. This is simply the same files, but for different time steps. Oh, sorry. So simply the same time step for 1 day before. Simply this is how it works. This list. And for example, you can see these are transferred to host 1, the first 5 files here, but the last 2 are transferred to host 2. So you can play with these. Okay, I will go back, and here actually now we can do some actions. The first in the actions column, the first button is downloading the file. The second one is requeue. Actually, we can do it together now. So simply the status is done. So I received this file, but let me receive it again. Okay. So now it's requeued, and let me go to the file, and we can see in the messages, we can see some more. So so it was done, but right now this is UTC 1035, which is now. I simply send it again, requeued, and it started transferring right away, and I received it again, simply. Okay, so this was one operation. I can actually stop it. It stopped the, actually, sorry. So since this is transferred, I cannot stop anymore. Yes, so for example, here, I just refreshed the page. Since this is transferred, I cannot stop it because nothing to stop there. But if it's requeued, I can stop and I don't receive that file, for example. I can change the transfer priorities, and I can also do a batch operation right now here with you. So let me add the selections. So for example, these three, and now I can click any red arrow I see. Here it redirects me into another page, and I can now do some global actions here. So I can requeue 3 of them, stop 3 of them, increase the or decrease the transfer priorities, clean the selection, continue selection, and actually extend the transfer timeline. If you remember, in this file, it was, or I mean, any files in this destination, it's 3 days for retention. So we keep your files for 3 days. And let me click here maybe 3 times, and let me clean the selection. And if I go to this file again, now we should see the expiry date 3 plus 3. Simply, it's 6 days more now. So we will keep your file 6 days more. So this is also maybe a good thing to do before you do your host switchovers or things like that. Okay. So one thing, maybe let's go to 11th of March. I can select all the files in this page, or actually, so it found 975 items here. I can actually go to bottom and click on this page simply, and this simply selects all 975 files and go to that global operations page again. So let me do that. It simply selected all the files, and let me do now continue selection, and let's come to here. So here on the 13th of March, we have 402 files, 402 files. And let me go to the bottom of the page and select all the pages and go to the, and now simply you can see that we have simply merged all the files from 13th of March and 9th or 7th of March, 9th, I guess. But yeah, you get the idea. And now I can do some operations here simply. Now I will clean the selection and go. Okay, so I showed some operations, batch or single. I showed everything here. So now let's go to the menu sidebar here. So first, let me start with data rates. If I click on it, it will show simply the data throughput that we saw on our destination in the last many days. If it's, I think there is no limitation, but since we created this host on the 5th of March, I can see from the 5th of March, and I can see the throughput. I can tell things like this was faster than these transfers happening that day was faster than this day, and I can do some things on my end. We can see how many files that you have received. You can see some changes log. It can be done by you or ECMWF staff. I mentioned what aliases is, so you can see your alias destinations here. You can see your transfer timelines. So this is simply a graphical way of checking your transfers. You can see the durations. You can also see the time steps. And if I just click on one of them, it will simply take me to that transfer simply. And finally, I have the metadata. This is also really important for the reasons that I mentioned before. So you should simply make sure that this is up to date for us to get in contact with you in case of critical situations. And I think that's it. Let me see if I forget anything. I think not. So so this was it. So if I think there were questions. So let me stop sharing my screen.
You want to unmute everybody so they have an opportunity to speak. But otherwise, you can put questions in the chat if you like.
Absolutely.
I allowed microphones for users. Okay.
Great. Yes, I think it's done. Okay. I'm not sure if it was overwhelming or not.
It was
but,
great.
Okay.
We had a question in the chat from Francesco. He was wanted to know how to requeue files from a feed-in delay mode. Francesco, yes. Did you understand, or do you want maybe Yigit to show you how to do it?
I can show it again, no problem. Thank you for confirmation.
Okay, maybe I can ask a question for the attendees. This is the first time we've run this kind of ECPDS and PRED training course. Would anybody have any interest in us repeating this in, say, 6 months, a year? Maybe comment in the chat if you think we should repeat it. Otherwise, we will make the recordings available in the documentation so that you can always come back to them. Okay. Okay. So we've had a reply from Robert saying, yes, please, and perhaps update the training based on feedback when using it for 6 months or so. I think it would be interesting to do it again, but only if there are new functionalities. Okay, so this will probably be the case for the PRED because we evolved this one a bit faster, but for ECPDS, this may not evolve as quickly. Liliana, were you saying something? Maybe not. Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
I just did thumbs up for both of the options. Emma, I hope it's okay.
Sure. Okay, so if there are no further questions, then I think that finishes. Oh, I see Robert's asking, will it be shared on that page? Potentially, we're still trying to figure out where we're going to put this, but yes, it seems the most likely place for the ECPDS. We will share afterwards wherever we put it to all of the attendees and registrants of this webinar.
Absolutely. We'll see.
You can share it with your team, yes, sure. And then, so the last thing is huge thanks to Yigit and Ilaria for doing this in our first ever public offered webinar for the 2 applications. We hope it was useful. We would love some feedback. We'll share everything with the registrants once we've figured out where we're going to put it all. And we thank you very much for coming along.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.